Alright, at the moment today we're going to pull out the rear diff. We're going to put a diff out of an R31 Skyline in it, so we can add LSD to it. We can have disc brakes on the rear, and it's just overall a better setup, better axles, because these ones are known for snapping axles. So before we pull it out, I'm going to take some measurements so the new one will go back in the same spot. I want to try and keep it with the factory springs and shocks because really soft and nice to drive, and I think it'll be funnier that way. So let's take some measurements first. Yeah. This is the two diffs next to each other. This one's out of the Skyline, it's out of the Cressida. Very close looking things. The reason we've gone with this one, it's 4 stud, 28 spline axle. Axles are like $50 if we blow them up. Plus, with a drum brake, if you snap an axle behind the bearing, which is just in here, so snap it here, your wheel can fall off. Whereas this one, if we snap it there, yes, the wheel can fall off, but at least the caliper should hold it a bit. In VLs, a lot of people snapping axles and drums and your wheels fly off and you crash your car. I've seen it happen a few times. If you got the disc, it'll at least hold it and hopefully, lock up and won't have a massive wreck, just a little wreck. So what we've got to start with is sort of blank canvas. We're going to cut off all the mounts off this and then probably fabricate new mounts because the springs are different on this, and it's a bit different. Panhard bar mounts on the opposite side as well. But it's alright, we'll get it done. Fun little project, I suppose. Well, we didn't save that. Hey. Alright my dudes, so this is the diff out of the Cressida, right? So we've got to put it in, so I'm going to make a jig up which is going to bolt onto the flange, and then it's going to be a bar with bits that go off and go onto all the mounting spots for this, and then I can transfer this jig across to the Skyline diff. The only difference in doing this is going to be that the pinion height to the center where the axle is a little bit different, so we'll have to figure out what the center of this is opposed to the pinion to make sure these mounts go in the same spot as on this, because I want to put it in the same spot as it was. I don't want to take up like a new spot. I am going to remake the arms though, but that's later down the track. So I'll show you how I make a jig. Boy! Okay, so from center here to flange here is 265 millimeters. So what I have to do is make a jig and space this out far enough to fit whatever this measures up at. So that way I just take the spacer out That'll bolt straight onto there, same way, whack a clamp on it, find the center though, this way. And then I can put all the mounts on it. Would you believe that? 265. That spacing there is the same as that. Okay, so found the center of the diff, the center of the bar. Took ages to get this all centered up, but now what we've got to do is make these brackets that go in on here. Just weld onto here. Put a bolt through it, do it for all the mounts. And then this cradle we can put onto the front of this. And then make the mounts for it. So with this jig onto where the upper arms and lower arms go, it'll provide us with a position to weld the new mounts onto the Skyline diff. So as long as we find the center of the Skyline diff and we bolt it onto the flange here, because this is the same width as that, then we can remake these top arms. The standard ones are a little bit flimsy for the application, so I'll probably make some new ones, maybe some chromoly ones with some rose joints, and have it adjustable to set the pinion angle as well. Okay, so this is Skyline diff just up on the sawhorses. Ground the mounts off. Spent a good time doing that, you know, that takes forever. So what we got to do now, using the jig, right? So we have to find the center line of the diff and match it with the center line between the two mounts. And then once we bolt it flat up on the flange here, we'll make some weld-on bits. Alright, there you go. That's jigs bolted on, clamped on. Took a lot of measurements from the center line to the arms, from the caliper mounts to here. Same there. Center line up, put a square on it. You got to take the time, make sure it's square. Make sure the flange is flush from here to the center of the axle, as measured from here to center to the flange. It's the same on both diffs, which I was extremely surprised at, to be honest. So now what we have to do, by we I mean me, I have to make the mount that'll weld onto the diff and accept the top bit. That's one high-tech template made. Whee. So like, goes on there, through there, weld it on. You need 4 of them. It may not look exactly like this. I'll just cut it out on this piece of plate over here. So that's 6mm thick plate. Right, looks a bit haggard up. The plies just a little bit too thick. It doesn't get a very good arc, so it's kind of struggling, but check that out. So here I have the mounts. They're just tacked on at the moment. Quite large tacks because I don't want it moving while I'm playing with it. Now we've got to make the mounts for the underarms down here, and then I will bolt it into the car just to double check before I final weld it. Boom for the LS1. It doesn't fit through the hole in the firewall, so we're going to have to cut the hole in the firewall bigger. I've made the mounts for the other side. So I've just flipped the diff over, so I have to make these. I have to get a 14mm drill bit. I don't have one. It's at my workplace on the mill. That one is cut shorter for a reason, so it can fit over this, but that's no big deal. So I'll drill them out, but while I'm waiting to get some time to go in and drill them, I'll start on the doing the wiring. There's a lot of good videos out there about how to do the wiring, so I'm not going to run you through exactly every single pin out I do and all that stuff. They're pretty straightforward. If you can wire in a car radio, odds are you can wire in an LS. The ECU has been, it's got the security taken off it already, so we should be able to pop it in and it should start up. That's no big deal. It's gonna sit. So there's the hole in the firewall, which is not quite big enough. It's gonna sit inside the glove box. And so that's the glove box card thing, and it's got like a step bit, and it's going to sit inside there. I'll go into more detail in a sec, but that's how I'm going to do it. Okay, so it's a bit of a squeeze to get them in there, but they fit. And if you come inside, that's them there, plugged right in the ECU. Right, check it out. The mounts are on now. They're just tack welded on. Not a final weld. Pretty decent welds though, so they don't move when we try just to test fit it. When I did it, I put some washers in there to space it out to its correct 60mm. With this flat, it was pretty good, and I also checked for square, obviously. So that's how it goes. I think it looks pretty cool. The jig worked pretty good as well. I've never actually done this before, so it's a new experience. But now we'll sit it in the car and see if it fits in there properly. Alright, so I've put the diff in now. It's just sitting on the jack, but I've got the arms in place. Fits nice. In the wheel well, it's very centered, which is exciting. I'm just going to try and fit the wheels now. So there it is. Take a good look. So now we can take it back out and make some spring mounts for this. Shock mount, panhard bar mount, put the brakes and all that on it, put the LSD center in, and then it should be ready to roll. Alright, so I've measured pinion angle in accordance to the spring mounts because I'm going to reuse these spring mounts. I won't go into the detail of the geometry, but you know, got all the datum points and stuff, so then off this one I can set the pinion angle, set it up where it needs to go on here. I'm going to relocate the breather because it gets in the way, whereas on that casing it's in a different spot, so it's alright. We'll just whack a little bolt in there, probably weld it up or something, then we'll put the breather somewhere else. Might even consider putting the breather on the cover somewhere, although when it's spinning around there I might spit out some oil, so I'll have a think, but that's what we're going to do now. So at the moment we just got to cut off these spring mounts. No worries. Alright, so we've test fit this to the car, fits correctly, cut the springs off, the mounts I mean, ready to roll. Just whack the little screw in there, weld that in there, and re-drilled to put the breather here. The brake lines are going to fit as well, which is pretty sweet. Now I've just got to finally weld up these mounts and then weld on some other stuff. Okay, so I've struggled to flip it over. It's flipped over now. Just going to weld up this side, and then we should be done with the diff. Besides the other stuff, but the mounting points will be done then. Alright, that wraps it up. It's all welded up now. On the next episode we will put the spring mounts on, we'll give it a paint, put the shock mounts on as well, just finish it off. We'll try and finish off the wiring in the next one too. I'll run through a bit about what I've done. And we've also got big plans for the car. We've got something coming for it. I'm not going to tell you what it is just yet. I'll reveal it in one of the next episodes. It's going to make the car pretty cool, I think. So hopefully you liked the video. If you did, give us a like, leave me a comment. I'll always try and get back to you. That's about it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.